What's up, my Canadian cousins? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm getting back to comedy today, and I did Rick Mercer's Talking to Americans part 1 a few weeks ago, and you all really wanted me to do part 2, so I'm going to do that today just to get it out of the way, and I'm sure it's going to be funny. In the meantime, I just want to show you something. This is the Wednesday after Father's Day Sunday, and I want to wish all of you dads who might be watching a belated Happy Father's Day, and show you something that my 18-year-old daughter made for me. This is the t-shirt for my channel, which I never expected her to do, and she put this on the back. It was so sweet, and I just love it. She's just such a nice, wonderful, wonderful girl. I'm so lucky to have 4 beautiful, wonderful daughters who all have their own, distinctive positives and character traits, and I just love them all so very much. So happy Father's Day to all you guys out there. Anyway, let's get to the video, and I will see you on the flip side.
I guess they'll have to start fishing for something else.
Well, if they don't resume the seal hunt in Calgary, what they're hoping would happen is that tourists could visit Calgary and get on a boat with the fishermen and go out to the ice floes and see the seals in their natural habitat. Would you consider ever doing that?
Yes, I would.
We're down here getting reaction to the fact that Canada is opening a university.
Okay, so this is literally like exactly where it left off. So they're at Harvard now. I thought it was going to sort of continue with a different place and a different subject matter, but I guess 1 and 2 just split right down the middle. Okay.
Would you ever consider going to a university in Canada? It's our first one.
Congratulations, Canada, on opening a university.
Thanks very much.
So that's a Harvard-educated guy saying congratulations to Canada, which is the most educated country in the world in terms of postgraduate education. So that's funny.
Best of luck with your degree. In Canada, because of the separatist movement, the French separatist movement in Canada, we've decided to allow Irish Canadians to vote. Do you think that's a good idea?
Of course.
Congratulations, Canada, for allowing the Irish to vote.
Well, they're not allowed to vote as it stands right now in Quebec because of, it's Quebec and they're a very different place.
Congratulations, Canada, for allowing the Irish to vote.
Are you a professor?
I am Irish American. Multiple generations ago. Sorry for the ice cream man music in the background. But the Irish were historically discriminated against here. I'm wondering if that's true of Canada too.
Here at Harvard?
Professor, yes.
Yes, here at Harvard.
Yeah.
Well, we're down here getting reaction to the fact that the Canadian government has decided to resume the Saskatchewan seal hunt. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's bad myself. Yeah, I'd like to see that stopped.
Did you ever consider going to Regina and going on a fisherman's boat, traveling out to the ice floes and looking at a seal?
I suppose that might be a nice vacation.
So we might see you up there.
Yes, let's go to Regina and go on a boat and the seal hunting. Yes. I said this in my last video. This is, funny because it's, oh my God, dogs are barking, ice cream man. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's evenings, summertime, New York, suburb. This is what happens. However, what I'm saying is, it's not like a seal hunt in Canada is an absurd concept. It's absurd when you think of it in Regina or in Saskatchewan, in general.
Someday in Saskatchewan visiting the seals on the ice floes.
Who knows? Good luck.
Okay, good luck to you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Teaching here at Harvard.
That's right.
Thank you.
He's so good at it. He's so good. I love him. It's so funny. I had a Father's Day lunch with my parents the other day, and they watched well, my mom did at least watch the prior video from number 1, and she just thought it was so funny because she thought Rick Mercer, like I do, was just so talented at drawing out the subtleties of people kind of catching them off guard and with the absurdity of the questions. It was fun talking about it with my parents.
We're doing a story on the fact that in Canada we have one airline. It's essentially owned by the government, but every plane they've ever operated has been a propeller plane. They've never had jets, and now in Canada they're thinking of getting jets. That's making a lot of Canadians nervous because they've never flown on one.
Okay.
Jets are a more quiet and comfortable ride.
I'd always flown domestically inside of Canada, and you could see the propeller.
Yes, yes. And when the propeller's going and all that,
That makes you feel good.
Yes.
The jets have things that turn and
Yeah.
for the different.
When the engine does shut down, you can at least have it rotate, auto-rotate, and all that.
We don't even use them. You don't even. Well, no, maybe we do. Yeah, we do.
You think we should just stick with the propellers?
Absolutely.
We do. I flew from New York City to Rochester, New York, which is Western New York. You know, it was a prop plane, and I got off the tarmac on like the stairs, which was weird. But when I flew to Toronto, no, it was a big commercial airliner into a major international airport.
Congratulations, Canada, on getting a second area code.
Well, see, in Canada, we're on a different clock. We've always been on a 20-hour clock, which is similar to the French. And now there's some discussion that we should finally get in line with the United States and move on a 24-hour clock.
So it's not synchronized with U.S.?
No, because like an hour of Canadian time actually has like 65 American minutes. So the problem is, you're an American, you come to Canada to visit, and then your bus leaves at 4:30, and then you show up for 4:30, and it's really leaving what you really on our clock 10 after 5. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I do, and I think you should go with U.S. time.
It would be very confusing. This is the first I've heard about it. I had no idea that Canada was on a 20-hour clock.
But it's actually the same amount of time, but just our minutes are longer.
Okay.
By American standards.
Well, I think it should be switched.
Yeah.
Canada, please move to the 24-hour clock.
It's the same time, but our minutes are longer. Oh my god. It's like Canada's an outlier in the world, you know.
Works better on mine. Okay.
The kazoo.
This one's not that good. I have.
But you know, like I remember on part 1, they were doing "Oh Canada, big empty land," just like the most absurd lyrics. You know, we look to America for a helping hand, and all the time, all the while, he's sitting there playing the kazoo to the song. It was just hilarious.
Its long history as the cheese capital of Canada, city officials are thinking of renaming the small town of Ottawa, but can't decide whether between Cheesetown or Cheddarville. That's good.
He's going to all the Ivy League colleges that he can get to. America's best and the brightest.
Toronto has reinstated the Toronto polar bear hunt. We're telling people about that. We're showing them this petition, and we're asking them to read it.
To Mel Lastman, Mayor of Toronto, Canada.
We, the undersigned, are strongly opposed to your plan to reinstate the Toronto polar bear slaughter.
We find this to be naive and uneducated approach. We find this to be a naive and uneducated approach to what is clearly a serious environmental issue. I am doing recruitment stuff for Green Corps. It's a field school for environmental organizing.
I'd be happy to sign it.
Okay, that'd be great. Actually,
what's hilarious is Princeton is in New Jersey, a little south of where I live. Not so far from Toronto. Not so far from Toronto. Toronto. Oh my lord! Oh my lord!
Did you hear that the Prime Minister, Tim Horton, just got a double-double?
Another double-double.
That means he has support of both sides of the Congress in Canada.
Wow.
What are you studying?
Politics.
Oh, yeah?
I'm studying political economy here at Princeton, and congratulations to Prime Minister Horton on his double-double.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Best of luck. You're a professor here at...
Oh my god. That might have been the funniest one of both videos. I'm sorry. Okay, let me compose it. Tim Horton, Prime Minister of Canada, congratulate him on his double-double in Congress. It's just so many layers of funny because, okay, yes, we know Tim Horton. There are Tim Hortons here. I did a Tim Horton video, a double-double, double cream, double sugar. So he's just so subtle, but the double Tim Horton, Prime Minister Tim Horton, just guys, it's funny.
At Princeton?
Yes, I am.
That's fantastic.
All right. To Mil Lastman, Mayor of Toronto, Canada. We, the undersigned, are strongly opposed to your plan to reinstate the Toronto polar bear slaughter.
We find this to be a naive and uneducated approach to what is clearly a serious environmental issue.
Thank you very much.
Power to the people.
Yes, please. So how long have you been a professor here at Princeton?
Since 1960.
The campus at Berkeley. It all began here. The very name is synonymous with student revolution, free speech, and free thought. Students did not come here looking just for a piece of paper. They came here for one reason and one reason only: a higher education. Canada's new Prime Minister, Jean Chrétien, is one of the few black leaders in the G7. He's Canadian-African.
I believe that diversity is very important, especially in government.
Finally, the industrialized nations are getting to a point where they can elect a minority, and it's nice that it's happening in our own hemisphere.
So you were happy to see him elected?
Yes, Jean Chrétien.
Canada just elected a new Prime Minister, and he happens to be of Chinese-Canadian descent. So his name is Jean Chrétien. Jean Chrétien.
I think it's great.
Yeah? So you're happy to see when the recent G7... Canada just elected a new Prime Minister, and he happens to be of Chinese-Canadian descent. So his name is Jean Chrétien. Jean Chrétien.
I think it's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're happy to see when...
This is dated. That might not... That's a little bit offensive. I think some people would not like that. But I'm sorry. I laughed at it, but...
The recent G7 meeting, Jean Chrétien up there?
Sure.
I think it's a great progressive thing for Canada.
So speaking as a political science student, I guess you're happy to see that Canada's Prime Minister is a Chinese-Canadian?
Yeah, I hope that America follows with that.
In Canada, we just built our longest suspension bridge. It's named after the Prime Minister, Peter Mans, so we call it the Peter Mansbridge. Lately, it seems that every week a special interest group is crawling up on the top of Peter Mansbridge.
Okay. I love that I get these jokes. I love that, if you've watched any of my other videos, I have done a few videos. Peter Mansbridge, I love him. CBC The National, he did a program on Vimy Ridge. I reacted to it, and I just fell in love with him on that. His, an interview with Gord Downey when he was dying, this man is just... I understand he's a Canadian staple, and I just love the man. And this is so funny. So funny. I would never have gotten this a year ago.
And protesting. As a result, the government is thinking of making it illegal for anyone to go on top of the Peter Mansbridge. What do you think? Do you think that we should make this illegal, or that's a legitimate form of protest?
Actually, protest is the matrix for change.
They do get a lot of attention. I mean, once, the first time a protester crawled up on, Peter Mansbridge's head, it got a lot of attention.
His bald
I would
head.
say that's why they're doing it.
The government shouldn't be...
He has a Peter Mansbridge
to
head.
get up on dangerous places like that, I would think.
So basically, if you happened, if the world was a different place, you were born in Canada, and you were protesting, you could find yourself up on top of Peter Mansbridge?
I'm scared of heights. I'm not likely to go on the top of Peter Mansbridge.
Okay. I'm hearing that the Latin music. My wife is Cuban American. Her father came here as a refugee from Cuba. So let's see what this is doing.
We found it quite fascinating the way that you guys held an election, and there was confusion about who voted for who, especially here in the state of Florida. And we're wondering if there's any discussion of adapting a Canadian system, like a prop style of voting. So it's the pine cone bark system, and if you're voting for the guy who's in power, you put a pine cone in the box. And if you're voting for the guy who's not in power, you put a piece of birch bark in the box. And that way there's no confusion.
I don't know. I think it sounds better than what we were doing.
Would you like the birch bark pine cone system?
This was definitely after 2000.
If that's the easiest thing to do, why not?
So this was,
like all those pictures of people examining the vote.
This was definitely after 2000, after the crazy 2000 election with Gore versus Bush. once again, Gore had the popular vote, but Bush just barely won the Electoral College with Florida.
Well, you don't have to examine a pine cone and a birch bark.
I agree.
It might sound odd, but there's no confusion whatsoever who you're voting for.
I think it's got merit to that. We can do that here.
In 30 years of democracy, we haven't had a single recount.
Actually, it couldn't be any worse than Chads and Dimples and...
Yeah, there's none of that. There's no Chads, there's no Dimples, there's no punch.
They're so funny. He's so subtle. He's so subtle. He's like 30 years of democracy, but they don't like hear that. They're just like 30 years of democracy. We don't have like hanging Chads and like they're just
psychologically sound.
I mean, the only problem we have
he's so good at that
in Canada is that after like say 1,000 people have voted, that's very heavy. You get 150 pine cones, weighs a couple of kilometers.
I'm sure we can deal with that.
Canada is thinking about getting a navy because Canada are allies with the United States, and if the U.S. gets in any trouble, we'd like to have a navy and help out. But a lot of people in Canada now are saying this is a really stupid idea because Canada doesn't have any access to the ocean, so why the hell would we have a navy? What do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you think we should have a navy, or do you think it makes no sense at all?
It probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Do you think it makes sense? I don't know.
Well, no, I don't personally, but then I'm a journalist, so I'm supposed to be unbiased.
I'd say no. I'd say no.
But do you think there's any point in Canada having a navy if we don't have any access to ocean?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'd stick to the air then if you don't have water.
We don't have harbors for a navy.
Oh. Well, that's a good point, but I think if you can do it, everybody needs a navy.
Right.
Because you never know. I mean, look what we're going through right now.
Maybe you could build a harbor.
Or we would have to keep our Canadian Navy in a U.S. port.
That would be really very good. Good trade relations.
You don't need a navy. Just use the Americans. We'll help support you.
So do you think it's kind of a dumb idea for Canada to get a navy if we don't have access to the ocean?
No, I think they should still have a navy regardless.
But we'd have to park our ships in U.S. ports.
So we're all on the same side, aren't we?
Have you heard about the Genome Project?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Now, in Canada, students in Canada academically have always tested lower than students in the United States. And like when I was a student, this is something that we were always told to be ashamed of, and we were always striving to do as well as our American counterparts. Now, because of this Genome Project, these scientists are saying that 80% of Canadians are technically developmentally delayed. So basically, in the old days, they'd say retarded. In the old days, now they say it's developmentally delayed. Now, the question is whether or not Canadians should be embarrassed about this or whether Canadians should just embrace it and celebrate it as part of their culture.
I think it's something you should celebrate. Whatever you have is something that you should celebrate.
You are what you are, and everybody should be able to make themselves into something fine.
You can always find the good side of something that is not quite up to par.
No, I think
I said this in my last video. These people are they're nice. They're nice, but they're falling for this. I almost feel bad. I almost feel bad, but I almost feel like I feel a lot of things. First and foremost, it's hilarious. But I do feel a little bad that he's baiting these very nice people this way. But, it is what it is.
I'd do something about it.
Right.
Try to improve would be the natural course.
So do you think that if this is the facts, though, do you think we should celebrate it?
Maybe it's the environment or from...
So right, so it could just be the fact that we're Canadian and it's our environment makes us test as if we're slightly retarded.
Seems to say that it's not the genes.
Be happy with what you are.
Okay,
so
thanks very much.
Obviously this is dated. Nobody would say use the word retarded. That's not cool.
Congratulations on the success of Canada, a retarded people's history.
Okay, I'm not. I can't laugh at this. It's not funny. However, I do understand the time in which this was filmed, so I'm just going to say that. And I'm not going to necessarily criticize Rick Mercer for that.
It's not?
No.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
All right.
Really?
No.
Really?
2001.
This is a joke, isn't it?
No.
That's a joke.
It's not. It's not. Why would you say that? The big news story this week is that Chief Gordon Lightfoot, Canada's native chief, is reasserting his people's treaty rights to hunt rhinoceros in northern Saskatchewan. The question is, should Canada honor its treaty with Chief Gordon Lightfoot? I mean, we did sign the treaty about 150 years ago.
Of course.
I just don't think you should have.
Let's break this down. Chief Gordon Lightfoot is leading the move to hunt, what did he say, rhinoceroses or something in northern Saskatchewan? Gordon Lightfoot, awesome. Awesome. Look at my videos on Gordon Lightfoot.
Use it,
right,
and put an animal to extinction.
Well, if it's a managed rhinoceros hunt, do you think it'd be okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, if it's not going to deplete the herd, and if they're going to die and get stuck in streams like elk do out in Colorado, where I'm from, then kill them.
I still say no.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Save the rhinoceros?
Yes, they're cute.
As you know, in the States, they're going to bring back the dollar coin. Now, in Canada, we've had a dollar coin for about 7 years. About 2 years ago, we brought in a $2 coin, and now we're introducing a $5 coin. Our $1 coin is called the loonie. The $2 coin is called the toonie. Now we're about to introduce the $5 coin. It has a maple leaf on it and a wooden texture, so people have taken to calling this coin the Woody.
Congratulations, Canada, on getting your first Woody.
Come on. My friends, if you've never visited New Orleans, please go. Please go. And by the way, a lot of the New Orleans culture comes from the Acadians who left Canada to, escape. Well, they were expelled. And I did a couple of videos about this too, and the band song Acadian Driftwood. Please watch that if you're so inclined, but this is a really cool topic. That's what the term Cajun comes from, the Acadians.
We're doing a story on the fact the Canadian government has decided to do away with the Union Jack. We're actually going to have our own flag now. We're pretty excited about that. And there's a couple of designs. One is kind of a hockey puck.
Happened in 1960 something, right?
A flag with a fish, and another one is a maple leaf. What do you think?
I would say the hockey puck.
You go with a hockey puck?
Yeah, Canada and hockey.
That just shows you how Southerners back, especially back in the early 2000s. There's a lot of hockey teams in the South now, but, growing up in the Northeast, 1,000%, we all knew Canada. We all knew the Maple Leaf because of our going to our hockey games.
The hockey puck.
I have to say the hockey puck.
I think the hockey puck might work, though.
Yeah?
Of course, the hockey puck. I mean, that's what y'all are known for, isn't it?
Well, here we are on location at NAPTI. Now, this is where all the big TV companies come and they basically sell their TV shows and give away lots of food. If you look over here, you see a company called Cluster TV, and they got a full bar there, and the food is all free.
Oh, well, it just ended there? Wait, this is part 2, but it didn't continue? Oh, my God, my friends. I guess I'm done with this topic. He's such a jerk, but he's so lovable, but he's so funny, but he's great at the same time. All of it wrapped into this bun that makes it awesome. I love this. I loved it. I'll go into history next. I'll go back into British Columbia. I'm doing that. I'm going to go, from there west to east on a lot of places in Canada. I'm so into it, man. I'm so into it. So, peace, my friends. Thank you so much for watching.